My Holopon Monk build is now deleting pinnacles in one shot and clearing maps faster than before. Check it out.
Song running on endless distance.
What's going on, guys? Today, I have an update to my Holopon Monk. I've made quite a few changes since the last iteration, but most notably dropping the Thunderfist gloves like a bad ex-girlfriend and slotting in new shiny ascendancy points, spirit gems, and support gems that all juice up our damage and clear speed. All of these changes were tested live on my Twitch at twitch.tv/FGCorpin21, so make sure to come watch me test more improvements live. I've included a link in the description to the written planner, which includes a leveling guide, path of building file, and a link to my community Discord, so make sure to check all of those out. And with that out of the way, let's get to the video. Firstly, make sure to go watch my mapping and bossing demo by checking the timestamps, as the tech for bossing can be a little confusing for some people. So the main skills and gears still remain the same for the build. We'll be using Ice Strike plus Shattering Palm for mapping, and Falling Thunder and Hand of Chayula for bossing. The differences are in the ascendancy points and the support gems. We've added in Elemental Expression, which one critical hit will either activate a Fiery Explosion, Arcing Bolt, or Icy Wave. We've scaled our crit chance up really high, so the skill activates all the time when mapping. We're using it to build up tons of freeze with the Icy Wave to activate Herald of Ice as much as possible for more AoE clear. I've added in the Nova Projectile support gem, which adds more projectiles and makes these waves activate around us in a circle, allowing it to chill and build up freeze when mapping. These Herald of Ice explosions plus Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ash create satisfying triple Herald screen clearing setups, which make things like Abyss and Breach really easy. The build is also surprisingly tanky, as we have 3500 energy shield, 1800 life, well over 70% evasion rating, and we use things like Ghost Dance, which will recover almost 1500 energy shield on hit. With the new changes to evasion rating, making it so that you can dodge almost all attacks, this makes it super satisfying in maps. You won't get hit all that much, and if you do get hit, you'll recover that energy shield back. The bossing is still the same, as we'll be using combo, power charges, and Falling Thunder to deal massive damage. We use the Culmination 2 support gem to allow us to build up combo on hit. For each stack of combo, we get 3% more damage. This combo can stack well over 100, allowing for an easy 300% more damage buff. We then combine this combo with the new Aelist Chime Lineage support gem, which says 10% chance to gain a power charge when expending combo, and this chance can exceed 100%. This means for every 10 combo we expend, we'll get 1 power charge. 70 combo equals 7 power charges. We'll build up combo, expend combo using Hand of Chayula, and apply Sniper's Mark, which gives us more critical damage bonus, and then we'll follow up with a 100% chance to critically hit Falling Thunder that's boosted with 7 power charges and 300% more damage to one-shot everything. Falling Thunder is the perfect skill for this, as it deals 100% more damage if a power charge was consumed and 50% more damage for each power charge consumed after. This results in a 590% multiplicative damage bonus when consuming 7 power charges. So with the tech of the build out of the way, we can jump right into the skill gems and support gems. Alright, so here we are on the Holopon Monk, and I'm now going to explain the skill gems and the support gems. So we are going to be using Elemental Expression, which is granted via the Ascendancy on Invoker. We're going to be using Nova Projectiles to allow the projectiles that are spawned by it to appear around us in a circle. We're going to use Fire Mastery to add an extra level to the skill so it deals more damage. We're going to use Efficiency 2, as this is going to reduce the mana cost, as this does have a mana cost that can be quite taxing sometimes. We use Freeze to allow it to build up more freeze so we can proc Herald of Ice more often. And I'm using Blind because Blind is going to allow it to where enemies have less chance to hit us and we have more chance to hit them. This makes our evasion rating even more effective and melee feel a little bit more consistent. On Ice Strike, our main mapping skill, I'm using Elemental Armament 2. I've slotted this out instead of Concentrated Area because I want the AoE increase. If you can handle the mana consumption, use Elemental Armament 2. Next up is Rapid Attacks 2 for more attack speed, Rage for Rage on hit for more damage and more attack speed while you're not at maximum rage, Pinpoint Critical to guarantee that we're critting as often as possible, And then I have Crescendo 3, which makes it to where the final strike is ancestrally boosted. And while this is important is because whenever you use that third strike, it will actually spawn 2 of you like mini monks that are almost like shadowy versions of you that will strike for you as well. This is increasing your AoE like massively. So it's important that you have this slotted in here. If you had to not have a single one of these, I would probably say Elemental Armament as the very last one. Definitely make sure that you have slotted in Crescendo 3 now. Next up is Falling Thunder, and this is our 100% chance to critically hit Falling Thunder. I'm using Excise right here for the additional critical hit chance. I'm using Inedible Crit to guarantee that that crit chance is brought up to 100%. I'm using Culmination so that way we can build combo for Falling Thunder. I'm using Overextend so that way we can get more critical damage bonus. And I'm using Fist of War 3 to ancestrally boost this. Now, if you for some reason have really high critical hit chance, you have to calculate this using Path of Building. You can actually take off one of these gems and use something like Ambrosia for even more damage. I do like guaranteeing that I'm 100% going to hit a crit, but if you absolutely need more damage for whatever reason, I recommend that you scale a few more critical hit chance nodes and you swap in Ambrosia. Next up is Hand of Chayula, and I'm using Hand of Chayula to expend combo and to gain power charges and apply Sniper's Mark. This is what we use before we strike the boss with Falling Thunder. Hand of Chayula is a strike skill that allows you to socket curses and marks in it. This is Sniper's Mark. It's typically a skill gem that can be slotted in like a support gem because whenever you hit something with this ability, it will apply the mark on them. This is important because this is going to increase our critical damage bonus, and since our Falling Thunder is a guaranteed critical hits, this is a big damage boost. Next up, we're using Blind on it to guarantee the target that we strike before we hit them with our Falling Thunder is blinded. We're using Culmination 2. You have to put Culmination 2 in first before you can put in Airless Chimes. If you don't put in Culmination 2, it won't let you put Airless Chimes in, so make sure you do this in this order to ensure that you can equip it. Next up is Shattering Palm, and this is what we're using to really help our clear speed. It is going to allow you to dash to a target, hit them, and coat them in some icy coatings. Whenever you deal enough damage, it will break this icy layer into a whole bunch of shards that kind of shotgun into a Herald of Ice explosion. So this is really useful for your AoE clear. I'm using Magnified Area 2 for more area of effect. Ancestral Call 2, because what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to summon 2 Mirage like mini U's to actually strike 2 additional targets whenever this is boosted. This is super boosting your clear speed because you're hitting 2 extra targets with this skill. I'm using Cold Attunement to get as much cold damage as possible because we want a lot of freeze buildup. Elemental Armament 2 for more elemental damage, and Cold Mastery to bring the level up by 1 more. Next up is Herald of Ice. I'm currently using Overreach for the increased area of effect. I'm not using Magnified Area 2 because I want as much area damage as possible to increase my clear speed. I'm using Elemental Armament 2 for more elemental damage, Cold Attunement for more cold damage, and Deadly Herald if you have the extra spirit. If you don't have the extra spirit, you can slot something else in here. Next up is Herald of Thunder, and to proc Herald of Thunder, you are going to have to make sure that you have enough lightning damage on your gear. If you don't have enough lightning damage on your gear, you may not be seeing the skill activate. So unless you have flat lighting on your rings, gloves, or you have the Ascendancy point for extra lightning damage, you may not want to run this unless you can get that lightning damage. Next up is Elemental Armament 2 for more elemental damage, Overreach for more area of effect, Long Shot for more attack damage from enemies further away from you. This is going to chain pretty far out, so this is a nice little damage boost. And then I'm using Lightning Mastery for the extra level. Next up is Herald of Ash, and this one is kind of optional. You don't have to run Herald of Ash if you don't want to, but it's just a really satisfying AoE clear. There is combo and tech with Charge Regulation. Charge Regulation will make it to where if you have gained a power charge recently, you will have 25% more critical hit chance. This is pretty useful if you want to crit cap your Falling Thunder and allow you to slot in a different gem. So this is tech that some people said in the video. You can either go check out a Reddit post about it and read about it if you want to, but you pretty much have to calculate this number in Path of Building to know if you're actually going to have a guaranteed crit. But you can either slot in Charge Regulation, you can use Herald of Ash. If you have another defensive gem you want to use, anything works there. I'm just going Herald of Ash because I'm already crit capped, I already have enough damage, and I just want to get more AoE. I'm going Fire Mastery for extra fire skills and Magnified Area for extra area of effect. And then lastly, for the defensive support gems, I'm using Wind Dancer and Ghost Dance. Now, Wind Dancer is needed to get your evasion rating as high as possible. A lot of the build's defense comes from evasion rating, as we have around 70% evasion rating, but this is also not factoring in blind. Blind is going to reduce the accuracy of enemies trying to hit us. So this pushes our evasion rating closer to, like, I don't know, 70 to 73%. So getting Wind Dancer and blind is going to increase your evasion rating a ton. You're using Blind 2 for blind on hit whenever Gale Force procs, which whenever you get hit, it'll cause an explosion. I'm using Pin and Maim to lock those guys down if they do hit us, and then Magnified Area. This should be Magnified Area 2, so that way it procs in a bigger area around us. And then I'm using Ghost Dance, and Ghost Dance is nice because it will build up Ghost Shrouds, and whenever you get hit, it will actually recover Energy Shield based on your evasion rating. And since we have so much evasion rating, I'm already gaining nearly 1500 Energy Shield whenever I get hit, and it's only a level 18 gem right now. So this is really nice for making it to where your ES is going to recover whenever you do get hit. I'm using Clarity if you have the extra spirit for more mana regen. I'm using Compressed Duration 2 for the less skill effect duration. This is allowing you to gain Ghost Shrouds faster, which you do want. And then I'm using Cannibalism 2 to get 3% max life on killed. So that way, if I do have my energy shield down, I have a way to recover it. So now that I've explained the skill gems and support gems, I'm going to go ahead and break down the gear. Alright, so here's the gear. Of course, we don't have any weapons because we are on Hollow Palm. I have slotted out Thunder Fist for a pair of rare gloves, and this is just due to rare gloves having a much higher ceiling than Thunder Fist. Thunder Fist is really expensive and really not all that effective currently, so unless they buff the crit chance, the attack speed, or the flat damage on it by some more, I don't think it's worth spending the div on it. These pair of gloves right here were an incredible DPS boost and didn't cost nearly as much. On the gloves, you're going to want to go for a EV-ES hybrid base. The higher the EV or ES, the better. We're going to go for flat damages like cold, lightning, and physical. If you can get max life or max mana, that's also nice. Get level of melee skill. You're going to want one line of leech on your stuff, so that way you can recover your mana. I'll explain in the passive tree why this is important. It's with a new keystone called Walker of Winds. It's going to allow physical attack damage leech for mana to be elemental. So this one line right here prevents me from ever running out of mana whenever I'm mapping or bossing. Otherwise, getting any resistances, any attributes, attack speed on gloves is also important. On the helmets, you want to go for a pure energy shield helmet, and this is because we're using Subterfuge Mask. Subterfuge Mask on the tree is going to give you +2 evasion rating for every 1 ES on your helmet. Since we have like a 400 ES helmet, we're getting 800 evasion rating just from having this equipped. On your helmet, you're going to want to get as high ES as possible. If you can get max life or max mana, that's also good. Get critical hit chance, attributes, and resistances. If you can also get deflect if you're running a EV-ES hybrid, that would also be nice. On the body armor, you are going to want to get a EV-ES hybrid, and you're going to want to get as much evasion and energy shield as possible, as this is going to increase the spirit gain by Lead Me Through Grace, and it's also going to scale your attack speed and critical hit chance with Hollow Palm. On your chest piece, if you can get the gain percent deflection rating as, or gain percent of evasion rating as deflection, that would be huge for defense, but it is pretty taxing to get that and resistances and a really high EV-ES. But if you have like 10 div to spend, you could get something even bigger than this body armor. I think I paid 1 div for this, and I bought 3 Omens of Whittling to whittle off max life on it for more EV-ES, and now it's like a 10 div body armor. On the boots, I am using a pair of movement speed boots, of course. These are also EV-ESs. I'm going for max life, max mana, resistances, gain deflection rating, energy shield recharge rate, attributes, anything of the sort. Just fill out whatever you need and just make sure that you have some form of movement speed. On the belt, I'm going for a 20% of flash recovery applied instantly utility belt. This is going to allow you, if you need to get almost like an instant heal if your ES breaks, or a instant heal on your mana if you run out for some reason. I've gone for max life on it, attributes, and resistances. Try to get a cool Abyss Craft on it as well if you can. For the rings, we have gotten rid of Pulse Circount as we don't need it anymore with the Elemental Expression procs in Herald of Ice and the Herald of Thunder and Ash. So I've slotted in with a new rare ring, and this is going to allow you to fill out your resistances, your attributes, and get a ton more damage with Hollow Palm much easier. So on your rings, you're going to want to go with, of course, resistances, flat damages. Flat damages are better than percent increased damages for Hollow Palm. Try to get increased cold, lightning, or fizz. Fire is also fine if you can get it, but I would prefer fizz, cold, or lightning. Try to get max life, max mana, evasion rating, attributes, and then all of your resistances filled out. There's also some cool abyss crafts that you can get, so check those out as well. And then I have this ring right here. This ring I actually crafted myself on stream. You can go check the VOD for that if you want to see, but same thing, flat damages. I do have a % increased lightning, percent increased resistances, get attributes, same things on the rings. Then for your amulets, you're going to want to get increased evasion rating, and if you can get it, % increased maximum energy shield would also be huge, but for the moment, I've gone for % increased evasion rating and % increased global defenses. This is going to increase your evasion rating twofold and increase your energy shield. I've gone for max life, +2 level of melee skill, some attributes, some crit chance. If you can get crit damage bonus, resistances, anything like that, there's % increased max life. My preferred anoint right now is Storm Charged, as Storm Charge is going to pretty much give you a flat critical hit chance increase and give you more elemental damage. There are tons of other anoints to go for, but you could go for Storm Charged if you have the currency for it. If not, Sharpened Claw, like I did in the last video, is a great option. For the flash, just go for some 2 basic recovery flask. If you can get recovery applied instantly, that would be nice. And then for the charms, I like to run a stun charm, a slow charm, and a freeze charm. These are the main things that can slow down the build. So having these 3 charms to not slow you down and prevent you from getting stunned, frozen, or cursed with temporal chains or something like that, this will kind of allow you to stay moving and as fast as possible. So yeah, that is it for the gear. So I'm going to go ahead and break down the passive tree and the ascendancy tree. So here we are on the passive tree. I am currently level 93, so this is a level 93 tree setup. If you need to, go follow the Mobalytics written guide. It has a step-by-step on my nodes. For the ascendancy, if you have three of your 4 ascendancy trials complete, I would skip out on I Am the Thunder. The most important ones right now for the full in-game setup is getting Lead Me Through Grace, as it's going to give you spirit for every ES and EV on your equipped body armor. So this is how we're getting all that spirit. If I didn't have this right here, we wouldn't have nearly as much spirit as we currently do. I then go for Sunder My Enemies, because this allows your critical hits to ignore monster elemental resistances, and this is important because we don't have to build into elemental pin on the tree now. I decided to go with Elemental Expression after they buffed it in 0.3, and it's been quite effective at proccing Herald of Ice as often as possible. It triggers on melee critical hits. It does cost mana, so making sure that you have that mana leech is going to be huge. And then with my last points, I've gone with I Am the Thunder for the extra lightning damage. This is helping me activate my Herald of Thunder more often, and increased magnitude of shock does increase our damage dealt against shock targets. So that is the ascendancy points. For the tree itself, you can go watch the leveling guide on Mobalytics and follow my step-by-step if you want the exact pathing I took as I leveled up. But I'm just going to kind of break down what all the nodes are doing and why I'm picking them. So first off, make sure you're getting these crit nodes here, not the attack nodes. These are better for DPS overall. Flow Like Water for attack speed and Dex and Int. I get Mindful Awareness for the big EV/ES bump. Crashing Waves for the critical, the increased damage if we dealt a crit, and the 2 crit hit chance nodes. I come up here for Power Within for +1 maximum charges and the increased critical damage bonus if you gain a power charge. I get Moment of Truth for increased critical damage bonus, increased crit chance. If you need more crit chance, spec this node and not this damage node. I get Concussive Attack, as this is a great way to get a ton of attack damage, and it's right here. I go ahead and get all of these nodes now right here. I like these EV/ES nodes for extra evasion rating and movement speed while you have energy shield. You get Lust for Power for +1 maximum charges and gives you a chance to gain an additional power charge. I go for Blinding Strikes for the extra damage increase and the chance to blind. We're going to be blinding everything anyways, but we're just here for the attack damage boost. I've gone for Agile Succession because it's going to give us evasion rating if we've hit an enemy recently. This is increasing our evasion rating over what it currently is whenever we're actually mapping. I have this one small node spec'd because I do need the Int currently. Whenever I get better gear, I may not need this node anymore and I'll move it somewhere else. I've gone for High Alert for the increased evasion rating while on full life. As long as our energy shield is up and we have our flask, we will be at full life for that extra evasion rating. And then I've gone for Subterfuge Mask. This is giving us +2 EV per 1 ES on Helm. This is giving us a ton of energy shield and evasion rating. Next up, I go for Killer Instinct for the attack damage when on full life. You can see that, we're going to be on full life because we have Energy Shield over us. And if I level up a few more times, I will probably grab Tenfold Attack for the attack speed increase. Next up is the jewels. Now, my jewels are honestly pretty mid. I need to upgrade them. They're one of the few things in the build that I have not changed. I have increased evasion, increased crits, and attack speed with quarterstaffs, which the attack speed with quarterstaffs actually does not apply to Hollow Palm. On your jewels, I would recommend you go for just like attack damage, elemental damage, critical hit chance, critical damage bonus. Anything like that will be fine. I've gone for True Strike for the dex and crit chance, for the jugular for the damage bonus and ints. I go for this top node damage on critical because it is a better overall DPS node than this node right here. If you do need extra critical hit chance, pick this node rather than this one. And then I go Deadly Force for the damage if I've dealt a crit recently and increased critical hit chance. I forgot I come down this way. Of course, we get Hollow Palm and then get these blind nodes. These blind nodes right here are so strong right now because we have 15, 15, and 50% increased critical hit chance against blinded enemies. That is 80% increased critical hit chance against blinded enemies, and everything is going to be blinded. I also get the 15% increased damage with hits against blinded enemies. This is also a very substantial increase. It's one of the most potent single nodes on this tree, actually. It's like a 1.8 mil DPS increase on my Path of Building file because there's not any other like factors for damage against blinded enemies that we've selected yet. So really powerful. Make sure you select that one. Next up, I get Spectral Ward for the +1 ES per 12 EV on body armor. Since we're using a hybrid, this results in us getting a ton more energy shield. So pick this node for the extra defense. We get Overflowing Power for the +2 maximum power charges and the increased crit damage bonus if we've gained a charge recently. I go for Throat Seeker because I have a high enough critical hit chance, and this is a huge DPS increase, as you can see. If for some reason you're really struggling to get your critical hit chance capped out, you can unspec this node, and this will solve your problems. I go for these brand new combo nodes down here. This is how I build combos so fast in boss fights. We have a 5% chance to build additional combo, 10% chance to build additional combo, 10% chance, and 20% chance. So these are all great for nearly getting you 2 combo per hit in a boss fight. And then I go attack damage, and skills deal increased damage per combo consumed up to 40%. This makes our Falling Thunder deal 40% extra damage. I come down here to this jewel, and this is the jewel that I have not upgraded since probably like Act 3 of the campaign. I have a % increased maximum energy shield and a 1% mana on kill. This is not useful at all for me anymore, really, because my mana is sustained. I don't have to worry about it. The increased maximum energy shield is decent, but definitely I need to replace this with like a Heart of the Well jewel or something like that. We go for Walker of the Wilds because this is going to make our mana leech recover based on elemental damage instead of fizz damage, so huge for the mana leech to sustain our mana when mapping. I go for Heart Stopping for critical hit chance, Struck Through for critical hit chance, and Heartbreaking for extra damage. If you need more crit chance, pick this node rather than this node. And then I come up this way to get the deflection EV nodes, and I get enhanced reflexes for increased evasion, deflection, and dex. And then I come down here for bestial skin for the 100% increased EV off body armor. If you need more dex, there is a +8 and +25 here. And that is it for the passive skill tree. So now I'll go ahead and get into a mapping and a bossing demo. All right, so here on our map, here's our waystone right here. Here's the map that we're running, and now we'll get into a mapping demo. Alright, so here on our map, and the mapping is going to be the same as before. We are going to engage a group with Shattering Palm, and then we're just going to hit them with Ice Strike. That's really all that it is. You're just going to walk around the map, dash to pack of mobs, hit them with our Shattering Palm, and then hit them with Ice Strike to break the Shattering Palm icy layer and to shatter it and proc Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ash, and just create massive AoE. That's absolutely ridiculous. So if you run across a bad rare or something, you can use your Palm, your Hand of Chayula, to give yourself power charges, and then you can just use your Falling Thunder to clear said rare like it's nothing. So yeah, that is the loop for mapping. You just walk around, you're gonna dash in, hit them, and then watch the packs just absolutely explode in the nukes. So yeah, now that I've explained the mapping, I'm gonna go ahead and get into a bossing demo. Alright, so here we are for a bossing demo, and we have tier 4, or I guess it's tier 3 Zesh now. I'm just going to call him Uber Zesh from here on. This is Uber Zesh, this is the maxed out one. And what we're going to do is, when we start the fight off, we want to build combo. So we want to punch and build combo for both our Hand of Chayula and for our Falling Thunder. So we're going to punch him for a while till we build up a good bit of combo. He's going to do some attacks. And then, yep, once we're getting close to about 100, 150 combo, that's when you're starting to get within that range, depending on your gear, that you're definitely going to one-shot them. So I keep building just for a little bit longer. So now I've built up pretty close to my 150 combo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Hand of Chayula to mark him and to expend combo, giving me power charges because of Aelish Chimes. So once I hit him with my palm right here, I now have power charges. Since we have culmination on Hand of Chayula and we have it on Falling Thunder, they both have their own separate combo buildup. So we've consumed the combo on this skill, but we still have the big damage boost from combo on this skill. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop this big combo ancestrally boosted 7 power charge Falling Thunder right at Zesh speed. We want to be close because if you're not close, your projectiles may not hit him. So I'm gonna walk right up to him and hit him right at the feet with that Falling Thunder there. So you can see that just results in that big DPS one shot. And yeah, that happens for all the map bosses and King of the Mist. I've not found the keys for Arbiter yet, so I will be testing here on Arbiter here soon on Twitch. So yeah, that is it for the boss demo. And that's gonna be it for the video, guys. I appreciate it if you made it this far. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. It was really fun to play. I'm planning on doing some more updates to the monk. We're gonna kind of min-max this as much as we can. So we'll see where we take this. We're gonna stay unarmed, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out and watching the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see y'all in the next one. Take care.